They said I wasn't good enough. My own family treated me like a servant, mocked my job, and even abandoned the only companion I loved. But on my sister's wedding day, everything changed. When the truth finally came out in front of everyone, what happened next ruined their perfect image forever. This is my story. My name is Clara Evans, and for 21 years my life was built on sacrifice, silence, and shadows. I wasn't the golden daughter, not the one my parents paraded around with pride. That was my older sister, Lydia. She was their trophy, sharp, polished, working at a well-known company with parents who would bend the world to her will. Me? I worked the night shift at a textile factory in Oak Ridge, our small industrial town. I didn't go to high school, not because I failed, but because my mother never let me. Education's a waste of money, she said. You're better off working. Lydia's the one with a future. And just like that, my fate was sealed. A life of labor. My nights were filled with the hum of machines, fabric dust, and aching muscles. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd trudge home exhausted, desperate for sleep. But my mother never cared. Clara, make breakfast. Clara, clean the kitchen. Clara, prepare dinner before Lydia gets home. Don't make her wait. Even when I protested, my mother's response was sharp and cruel. You're just a dropout working in a factory. Your sister is important. She has a career. You're just lounging around all day. It didn't matter that I worked harder than anyone in the house. My father? He knew it was unfair, but he was too passive, always muttering, "Best not to argue with your mom." So I endured. My only companion, the only warmth in my life, came from Bella, my cat. Lydia had begged for a pet years ago, but once she got bored, Bella was tossed aside like a toy. I became her caretaker, and eventually, her whole world. Every morning when I returned home, Bella greeted me at the door, tail flicking, eyes wide with love. When nights were unbearable and I cried myself to sleep, Bella curled against me, purring as if to remind me I wasn't truly alone. And then there was Daniel. A flicker of hope. Daniel was a co-worker, kind and steady. He was 23, with a quiet strength and a smile that cut through the monotony of factory nights. "Clara," he would say, "you're not just a dropout. You're hardworking, you're kind, and people here respect you." We started spending time together after shifts. Simple dates, movies in his apartment, sharing coffee. Bella curled between us, like she approved of him more than anyone else in my family ever had. For the first time, I felt valued. Lydia's engagement. Then came Lydia's announcement. She burst into the living room one night, waving a bouquet of roses like a trophy. "My boyfriend proposed. We're getting married." The whole family erupted in cheers. My parents clapped, eyes shining with pride. "Lydia?" She turned to me, smirking. "You wouldn't know what this feels like, Clara. Not when you're just a dropout stuck in a factory." I smiled faintly, forcing out a congratulations before heading to work. But her words burned. Meeting Brian. A week later, Lydia introduced her fiancé, Brian. He was tall, handsome, and just as cruel as she was. "Oh," he said, scanning my uniform. "You're the factory worker. Lydia told me you dropped out. Guess it suits you." His smirk mirrored hers. My parents laughed along, brushing it off like harmless banter. I bit my tongue, retreating to my room to find comfort in Bella's soft fur. But when I opened the door, she wasn't there. Betrayal. I tore through the house, calling her name. My mother appeared, brushing faint scratches off her hand. "Oh, Bella." "We took her out to the mountains. Brian's allergic. Couldn't let a cat ruin Lydia's wedding." The words sliced through me. "You abandoned her? Out there, alone? I screamed. Stop being dramatic, my mother scoffed. She's just a cat. Lydia smirked. Thanks for getting rid of her, Mom. I never liked her anyway. Bella, the one being who loved me unconditionally, discarded like trash. Rage boiled inside me. She was more family than any of you will ever be, I shouted, tears streaming down my face. But they only laughed. The search desperate. I ran into the night, calling Daniel on the way. They abandoned Bella, I sobbed. They left her in the mountains. He was already waiting when I reached the trailhead, breathless but determined. We'll find her, he promised. We searched for hours, shouting her name into the darkness, stumbling through underbrush. But the mountain was silent. Exhaustion overtook me, and I collapsed, weeping. She's gone, I whispered. Daniel placed a steady hand on my shoulder. Not forever. We'll try again tomorrow. That night, I returned home to find my family laughing with Brian, celebrating their cruelty like it was nothing. I packed my bag. You're not staying here another minute, Daniel said firmly. You deserve better. Let's go. And I did. A new beginning. I stayed with Daniel until I found my own place. My co-workers rallied around me, outraged by what had happened. Even our boss, a stern man with a soft spot for animals, promised, if your mother ever steps foot here, I'll have her arrested. For the first time, I felt safe, but my family didn't stop. They called, demanding I still attend Lydia's wedding. Against every instinct, I went, not for them, but to face the humiliation they had planned. The wedding. The reception hall gleamed, filled with laughter and chatter. Lydia was radiant in her gown, Brian smug at her side. My parents glowed, proud of the daughter they'd chosen to uplift. And me? They seated me at a large round table, all alone, far from the crowd. Lydia leaned down, smirking. We thought you'd be more comfortable this way. After all, people with real educations might make you nervous. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to stay calm. I wasn't giving them the satisfaction of tears. Then a man approached. The turning point. Excuse me, he said, holding a plate and a drink. May I join you? Of course, I replied, surprised. My name is Victor Hayes, he said with a warm smile. I'm the CEO at Brian and Lydia's company. Shock rippled through me. This was the man who controlled their futures. I've heard of you, I said politely. Thank you for what you've done for them. Victor waved it off. Nonsense. But if I'm not mistaken, you work at Oak Ridge Textiles, don't you? I visited once. Your project on improving pet comfort in fabrics was remarkable. My heart skipped. Someone noticed? Yes, I said softly. It was my team's work. I'm passionate about it. Victor's eyes softened. Are you a cat person, Clara? Tears stung my eyes. Yes, my cat Bella meant everything to me. And then, for the first time, I told the truth. Exposing the lies. Mr. Hayes, the photos Lydia showed you of a cat. They weren't hers. They were mine. And because Brian is allergic, they abandoned Bella in the mountains. My parents helped them. They left her to die. Victor's expression hardened. His voice, once warm, dropped into icy fury. They abandoned an animal? I nodded. They laughed about it. Just then, Lydia and Brian walked past, startled to see him with me. Victor, Lydia chirped. I hope Clara wasn't bothering you. She's not very sophisticated. Victor stood, his voice carried across the hall. Actually, Lydia, I've been speaking with your sister, and from what I've learned, Clara has more talent, integrity, and compassion than either of you. The room fell silent. The fallout. Brian stammered. It's just a cat. Why make it such a big deal? Victor's voice rose, fury in every word. Just a cat. You abandoned a living creature, lied about it, and then used it to impress me. Do you think that's leadership material? Gasps echoed through the room. I pulled out my phone, playing the recording I had made of my family casually discussing Bella's abandonment. Silence. Then Victor's verdict. Lydia, Brian, you're both finished at my company. I will not employ liars and abusers. Lydia's face drained of colour. Please, don't. But it was too late. Their perfect facade crumbled in front of every guest. My choice. I stood, smoothing my dress, and looked Lydia in the eyes. Congratulations on your marriage. I hope you two are very happy together. Then, with my head held high, I walked out. For the first time, I felt free.
Today, I live in a small but cozy apartment with Daniel and Bella. Yes, against all odds, we found her weeks later, thin but alive. She's back where she belongs, curled in my lap as I tell this story. I'm still at the factory, but my project caught Victor's attention, and he's already discussing opportunities I never dreamed possible. As for my family, their calls go unanswered. Their voices, once chains around my heart, no longer hold me, because I finally learned, blood doesn't make a family. Loyalty, love, and respect do. And Bella, Daniel, and the friends who stood by me, they're my real family now. If you've ever been underestimated, mocked, or betrayed, remember, your worth isn't defined by them. It's defined by how you rise. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow Tales Between Time for more stories like this one.